So now in this video, we are going to see about how we can create a Thymeleaf weave. Okay. So what is a Thymeleaf? So Thymeleaf is nothing but a weave which we are creating in order to interact with which the clients can interact. Okay. So this Thymeleaf is basically both. It supports both, that is HTML and XML. Okay. So it is a server-side Java template or which is basically used for making standalone web applications. Okay. Then as we have seen, there are different syntaxes in JSP in order to define the different values, like if you have to work with if we have to particularly set a message, or if we have to give a post request, etc. Okay, so here also we have different syntax in Thymeleaf as well. So the Thymeleaf expressions, like if we are defining any Thymeleaf expression in the weaves, okay, so for that we have to give the prefix as th and semicolon. Okay, so this will basically tell us, or it is useful for evaluating and displaying the content in the templates. Okay, so this will particularly tell that this is a Thymeleaf expression, and for that particular expression, it will fetch the value from the controller and set it in the weave. Okay. So let's talk about the example. Different expression that are used. So first we have is the th and semicolon text. Okay. So this text will do what? It will set the particular value or a particular message for that particular variable which we are using in the controller. Okay. So this will what? This will display the value of this particular variable. Okay, or the same as for the username we can say. Then we have if, that is nothing but the condition. Like for example, when we can use it, like suppose user has successfully logged in. Okay, so for that we can set that if the user is successfully logged in, so we have to create a alert message type thing in our HTML page. Okay, so during that time we can use this thf condition. Then we have href, which is nothing but like the what we can say is like the action tag. Okay, which help us to move from one page to another if we want to go from one page to another. So the value inside this is mentioned as this with the @ symbol. Next is the form th action. So the use of this is what? To tell us whether what is the URL. Inside the th action, we define the URL for a post mapping method, and then with the help of method tag, we tell that this method belongs to the post, and this th object we are passing the user. Okay, so as in the controller, okay, we will set what we are having is we are having a user object, right? And what we want is like whatever the user has entered the values in the form. Okay, we have to populate that controller values with that of the user. Okay, so for this reference we will use th objects. Okay, and then by default the directory where our we have to make this Thymeleaf templates is inside the templates, and we have to name it as .html. Okay, so let's see an example here. So this is the simple HTML page which we have created, and here we have given the expression for Thymeleaf as this. Okay, now let's understand the execution of this. So here we have a controller class. So inside this controller class, we have this handler method to handle the get mapping method as /grid. Okay, so here we have the model. Okay, so what this model is doing, it is setting the value for the message which is present in a Thymeleaf template. So here we have this message, right, attribute. So for this we have to set this value. So that is coming from this model.add attribute, that is from the controller. So for that we are setting the value as what? Hello Thymeleaf. Okay, so this value will get bind here, right? And then what we are doing, we are returning the greet page. So like once what will happen is when the user will hit this URL in the web browser, then this greet method will get invoked, right? So inside this greet method we are passing a model object. So what that model will do, this model will first set the value for the message attribute which we have in our greet template as hello Thymeleaf, and then it will return the user this greet HTML page. That is this page. That is nothing but a, it will return what in the headline with h1 as hello Thymeleaf. Okay, so this is how particularly the Thymeleaf is executed, or how we are going to use the Thymeleaf in our Spring Boot applications to create the web application. Now let's see the execution of this. See about how we can build our web application using Thymeleaf. Okay, for that we will create a new Spring Starter project. Let's name it as Spring application 3. Okay, and here I'm going to do next. Okay, let the and here we are going to include as Spring Web, and as we are going to make or generate weaves of Thymeleaf type, right? For that we will need this Thymeleaf. Okay, now let's finish. Let our application get configured. Yes, now this application is generated. Now what we will do is first we will create a Thymeleaf template, right? So that has to be created inside the resources templates file. So let's right click, then new, then file. We are going to name it, suppose we are generating again here a very simple form with that of username and password, right? So for that let's name it as suppose dot html. Okay, enter. give the implementation for this. So the type HTML, then we have is the HTML. So this is same as what we create a very simple HTML file, right? And as we are creating this as a Thymeleaf template, so for that we need to include the URL for the same, right? So which is http then www sorry dot Thymeleaf, right, dot org. Okay, then let's add a head tag. Okay, inside this we will give the title of our page, suppose Thymeleaf example. Okay, example. Okay, and now let's create a body tag. So body. Okay, so here again we are going to generate a form. Okay, so the syntax is same, that is form variable for suppose username. Okay, username, right? Then let's set the input type as suppose text. Okay, text, and yes, that's it. And just to give a break tag here. Then similarly we will also do for password here, that is suppose control V, right, password. Okay, and input type will be nothing but the password, that is password. Okay, and next will be what we have is the submit button, that is nothing but our button. Type is nothing but submit. Okay, submit, and then login. Okay, close the form tag and body tag. So this is a very simple login form that we have generated. Now for this, let's create a controller class. So for that, we will go, so the user, let's first create the user class, right? So for that, we will go, then class, then suppose first is user, right? So user and user, let's create the first attribute, that is private string, sorry, string, and then what we have is username. I have is private string, and suppose, sorry, this is string, and then we have is password, right? So password. Okay, then let's generate getters and setters for this. So select all and generate, and then a super class constructor generate. Okay, let's save this. Now for the same we will create a new class as controller, that is user controller. Okay, that is user controller. Okay, and let's, as it's a controller class, so let's give this as the heading, that is controller, right? Let's import it. Okay, now first we will generate the get mapping method. So it will be get mapping on which URL, that is suppose login, which we will have. Okay, here let's set the method of type strings and name it as home. Okay, and then inside this what we are going to do is we are redirect or return the login.html page, right? So let's import this, right? So that is the very basic execution that we are doing. Now, inside this, right, what we want in this, that we have to create a new user object, and we have to add it to our login.html page, right? So here, like when the post method will get executed, so whatever the username is set here will be fetched from here, and then it will get bind with that of this username. Okay, so to implement that, first we need to include model here. Okay, to pass the data or to bind the controller with that of the view. Okay, so inside this what we will do is first we will add the attribute. So for that first we need a user object. Okay, that is new user, right? And in this model dot set attribute, add attribute, it is add dot add attribute, we are going to add this user object, right? So user with that of user. Okay, so I'll explain you what we are doing here first, right? See, so at first we have named this class as the controller, then we have this get mapping method. Okay, which will when open the login form, so that user can enter the value. Okay, so inside this we have this method. Okay, that is the show, that is the home. Okay, which is basically responsible for displaying the login form, and it creates a new user object. Okay, and it is adding it to the model. Okay, and returns us the name of the Thymeleaf template. That is nothing but that is the login.html page. So when we go to login.html page, now here what we will do is we will bind that user object here, which we have created in our model attribute here. Okay, so how we will do this? So for this we will make the use of th object, right? So first, as we are going to do post action here, so for that nothing is was the prefix of Thymeleaf, that is th. Then we are doing action. Okay, and the URL. So the URL for the post mapping is nothing but we will suppose do it as login form. Okay, and then let's close it, and then we are going to pass the object of the user, right? So that is nothing but dollar, then curly braces, and inside this we will pass the user. Okay, and the method is going to be what? The post method, right? This is method is nothing but a post, is post, right? Then we have to also bind the username with that of the username which is present in the user Java class. Okay, so for that what we will do is inside the text we will include this, that is th field, right? Which will do what? That will bind the username for us. So that is username, right? Similarly, we will also do for password as Control C and then Control V. Okay. So basically, in simple, if we revise, first what we are doing is with the help of this th action, what we are it specifies the action URL, okay, for the post mapping method. Okay, so it access to the post method that is present inside the post mapping, okay, in the controller. Then this th object user, this attribute sets the user object as the current object for our form fields. Okay, and it allows us to bind the form field properties, whatever the values will be filled here, with that of the user objects. Okay, or the that is nothing but the username and the password which is present in the user class. Okay, next after this we are having this th field, so and th password. So this attribute again binds the value of input field, that is the username and password, to that of the user objects that are present in the user Java class, right? So save it, and then what we will do is we will create a post mapping method, right, inside our controller, so that this values get bind once we click on the submit button. For that we will do is post mapping. Okay, let's we have given this URL as login form. Okay, and then let's create a method that is suppose string. Okay, let's name it as process form, and here we will pass the user object. Okay, so that the values get saved to the particular user Java class. Okay, so we will, once it is successful, so we will redirect the user to which page? A new page that is nothing but success, in such a way that on the success page it will get display as login successful for the particular user. Okay, so for this in this HTML page, what we will do this inside this paragraph tag. Okay, we will include the field, like for example th text. Okay, what it will do, which will print, or which will have this type of syntax, that is nothing but message inside it. Okay, so it will print the name of the user whose login is completely successful. Okay, this is what we want. So now let's give or populate this field value for this field in our application here. Okay, so in our controller class, so for that what we need here, we will need a model. Okay, that will bind the value of the controller with that of the view, right, with our template. Then for that next we will do is first is model dot add attribute we will do for which field, that is we are like what we want is first is username. Now see, actually why we are doing this is suppose that is user dot get user name. Okay, and then we will redirect the user with that of this link, that is where user, if there is question, yeah, user name. Okay, which is equal, which is going to be, that is suppose with that of the user dot get user name. Okay, see the execution of this method. What we are doing is like what we want is like when the user goes to the success page, right? So there we are going to request the parameter that is nothing but the username. So for that username parameter, we are setting the value as the user's name. Okay, by using the get username method, then we are using this link. Okay, that is we are setting the username here with that of the username that we are going to extract from this object. Okay, now let's create a get mapping method for our success. That is suppose get mapping. Okay, and let's suppose the URL is nothing but this. Okay, now let's implement this method. So this is going to be of type string, right? Let's name the method as success. And there, here as we are going to first request the parameter for the username, right? Then only our message in the success.html page will get populated with this value. Okay, so this username, that is username, okay, will come from this attribute that we are setting here, that is model.add attribute for username. Okay, then next what we are going to use is the model. Okay, so let's first import the annotation. Okay, now let's give the method implementation. So first what we will do is we are going to set the value for string message is nothing but the username which we are getting from the request parameter, right? And then we are going to return the success page, right? Which we have created in the using the Thymeleaf template, and as well we are going to add the value for message attribute, right? So that is going to be this way. Okay, so simply what we are doing is first, okay, we are adding the attribute here, the username, so that it can be fetched here in the request parameter. Then in the URL we are including the username, so it will what for example, suppose the username is like for example John. Okay, so it will be set as username equal to John, then it will redirect us to this method, that is success method. Well, the username will come here, right? And from this username the message will be set with that of the username value. Okay, now let's run and check our application. So for that we will run it. Okay, so our port has started at 9090. So first we will do is what, login, that is slash login, enter. Okay, so our form is getting opened. Let's name it as John, suppose, and password as one any random. Now let's do login. Okay, so we can see the login is successful and the message is nothing but it is the name of the username as well as its password. Okay, so this is how we can use different Thymeleaf attributes like text test if a field is there or object is there or action is there. Okay, so let's see one more Thymeleaf attribute, that is the for each. Okay, so for that what we will do is in our user.controller, okay, we will create a new get mapping method. Suppose let's name is at suppose at the rate get mapping. Okay, and let's give the URL as suppose example for random. Okay, and then inside this we are so for this first let's create a template that is nothing but for example. So let's name it as example.html. Okay, so this basic properties like we will import as it is first. Okay, and then what we will do here, suppose we are creating a fruit list. Let's name it as fruit list. Okay, and then let's change this. Okay, so for that first we will like we are going to create a list. Okay, so we will use the UL tag, then inside this we will use a list attribute, and then we are going to use a for each loop for iterate. Okay, over our values. Okay, so we will see this further how we are going to do this. Okay, now see what we are going to do is first we are going to create a list in this method. Okay, that is nothing but a fruits. So for that we will create a method that is suppose public string. Okay, show example. Okay, and then we will use model. Okay, now let's give the implementation. So let's first create a list of type string and let's name it as fruits. That is nothing but a new array list. Okay, so let's import this value. So first for list and then for array list. Right, now let's add some values in our list. So suppose I'm adding first fruit as suppose apple, and then the same way what we will do is add one more fruits like banana, and then fruits dot add we will do is nothing but simply orange. Okay. As we talk about the for each attribute, so what we are going to do is nothing but iterate over this list and print one by one value in our example.html file. Okay. So for this, what we will do first is like in our here we will add first attribute, that is add attribute, that is let his name is that suppose fruit. Okay, fruit fruits, and then we are going to return what? We are going to return the example HTML page. Sorry, example. Okay. See, now here in the so first we will add this th tags. Okay, so at first as we are going to iterate on all the values, that is why we have used this attribute that is th each. Okay, then as we are going to iterate over what? A fruits list, that is this list. Okay, so we have to first include this. Okay, so how we will do this? That is nothing but fruits, right? In this way, and then we are setting the attribute for this in our Thymeleaf as suppose fruit. Okay, fruit. Okay, so what it will do is, so this fruits is coming from where? From a controller class, that is this method. Okay, so that is nothing but a different fruits. Okay, and for them we have given the value like whenever in Java we include a for loop, right? For each loop, so we defined a variable index first. Okay, and that x variable we then use to retrieve all the values of the for loop. Okay, so think this as fruit as that x variable only. Okay, then after that, next what we want is to print the text, right? So for that again we will have is nothing but a dollar sign, and inside this we will print the fruit. Okay, and next the list is getting closed. Okay, so we revise this shortly. What we have done is first we have for this map get mapping method we have created a method. Okay, where we are creating a array list for fruits. Inside that we have added different values, and as we have to iterate over this value, so first we have created an example method. Okay, so in this example method first we are fetching the value for this fruit attribute, so which is coming from a controller method, that is this fruit. Okay, in which we have added all this list values. Okay, then here the value is getting set, and here with the help of th text what we are doing, we are printing each and every value one by one. Okay, now let's save and run this. So it says what? That the application has started at 90904. Let's go and check this. Okay, so let's refresh it. Yes. So as you can see in this fruit list, all the values are getting printed one by one. Okay, so this is how different attributes of Thymeleaf work. That is, if we talk about object or the field, action, text is there, for each is there, or for any printing any simple message, etc. So I hope you have understood about how to create a simple Spring Boot application, for Spring Boot web application using Thymeleaf templates. Thank you.